It's been a few weeks since Grian's Minecraft series Double Life ended after 6 sessions. If you're not familiar, Double Life is the 3rd season in Grian's Life SMP series. First we had Third Life, then Last Life, and now Double Life. In Double Life, 14 YouTubers have 3 lives each and must try to be the last one standing. But this time, each Double Lifer is lifelink to another player, which means killing one would kill the other. The series had many interesting and unexpected deaths, as well as some funny ones, so in this video I'm going to be ranking all 21 deaths in Double Life from most pathetic to most iconic, based on iconicness, cleverness, and shock. These rankings are based off of my opinion, so just saying, there's a chance you might not agree with me. Also, I know Double Life is not scripted, so me ranking these deaths doesn't have anything against the Double Lifers themselves. Anyways, I'm gonna be going a little quick on this since there are 21 deaths to cover, so let's start the list. First off, we've got deaths 21 to 17, also what I'm gonna be calling pathetic. Some of these aren't too pathetic, but they just aren't as iconic compared to others. In 21st place, we've got Impulse and Beatup's first death during Session 4. Impulse fell to his death in a ravine while him and Beatups were hunting for creepers. This one was very unexpected, but I'd say it was the least iconic death out of them all. All it really did was lead the way to their second death later in the session. In 20th place, we have Joel and Etho's first death during Session 1. Joel and Etho were fighting an Enderman, and it killed Joel after he accidentally broke the boat they placed it in. Even though this was the second death on Double Life out of all the deaths, the way they went out seemed pretty generic to me as well. Next, in 19th place, we have Rendog and Big B's first death during Session 2. Rendog and Big B were speaking to Pearlescent Moon when an Enderman killed Ren. Like the previous 2 deaths on this list, this one also didn't really sit with me as too iconic, yet it was the only death on Session 2. In 18th place, we've got Zombie Cleo and Martin's first death during Session 3. This one was pretty funny since Martin basically just pushed Cleo off a cliff to her death, thus killing him as well, but to me it was a little forgettable too. In 17th place, I put Grian and Scar's final death during Session 6. Grian was unexpectedly killed by the Warden when he was trying to lead it up to the surface. This one was pretty sad, but so unexpected to see Grian and Scar go out this way. But I was always hoping for there to be at least one Warden-related death, so this fulfilled my wishes. Now we're on to deaths from 16th to 12th place, or what I'm gonna call intriguing. These deaths were a bit more interesting than the previous ones, but still not as iconic compared to others. First up in this section, I put Jimmy and Tango's final death during Session 5. This one was kind of iconic since they were the first to be out of the series, but the way they went out was just hilarious. Jimmy literally died to an Enderman while just walking about. But I mean, it's Jimmy. Next in 15th place, we have Tango and Jimmy's first death during Session 1. Tango was blown up by a creeper while being ganged up on by other mobs. I'd say this one is pretty iconic due to the fact that it was the very first death on Double Life, and this was even before Tango and Jimmy knew they were life-linked. In 14th place, I put Scott and Pearl's second death during Session 6. This one was pretty intriguing since it was actually a death by combat. Scott was killed by Joel using a firework crossbow, and it was a pretty clean kill. In 13th place, we have Big B and Ren's second death during Session 3. I'd say this was pretty iconic since Big B and Ren had now become the first Reds on the server, but the way they went out was kinda funny since it was just Beatups who failed to kill a creeper in front of Big B. This death was also the starting domino to another death which I'll be ranking later in this video. Anyways, in 12th place we've got Jimmy and Tango's second death during Session 4. While Joel and a few others were trying to kill Grian and a few others, Etho shot Jimmy off of a floating platform to his death. This one was also a combat related to death, which is why I thought it was interesting. Alright, now we're on to the deaths in which I would consider pretty iconic. It seems like these ones are mostly combat related. In 11th place, we have Pearl and Scott's first death during Session 4. Pearl was killed by Joel directly after Pearl and Grian accidentally killed him and Etho. This one was kinda crazy since it all happened so fast, and it was also the first intentional kill on Double Life. In 10th place, we've got Cleo and Martin's second death during Session 3. Cleo drowned to death in a water elevator while she and Martin were running away from Scar. The funny thing I found about this death was that the chat logs made it look like Scar killed Martin when that wasn't actually the case. In 9th place, we've got Joel and Etho's second death during Session 4. This one was the infamous one that first started the chaos. Joel and Ethos simply died to a little fishing rod game with Pearl and Grian, but it made them furious, which led to all the deaths later in that session. Then in 8th place, I put Scar and Grian's first death during session 5. I also thought this was pretty iconic, but pretty unexpected as well. Scar fell into a pit of zombies while him and Grian were being chased by the Reds. In 7th place, I put Scar and Grian's second death, which was also during session 5. This one was one of the most clever deaths in my opinion, at least on Joel's end, when he blew up Scar simply using TNT and a skulk sensor, and Scar was somehow dumb enough to try to steal the TNT. Alright, now we are on to the final 6 ranked deaths on this list. These ones were so iconic and clever that I won't forget them. Most of these are final deaths, by the way. For number 6, we have Beat-Up's and Impulse's final death during session 6. This one was an absolute W by Pearl, as she managed to fight both of them as a 1v2, and she managed to kill Beat-Up's, which then resulted in Impulse's death. For spot number 5, I put Ethan and Joel's final death during session 6. In my opinion, this was also one of the most clever deaths, as they died to a lava trap while exiting a nether portal. I don't exactly remember who made the lava trap, so you guys can tell me in the comments if you know. In spot number 4, we have Beat-Up's and Impulse's second death during session 4, from yellow to red. Even though this isn't a final death, I love the chaos that emerged during this elaborate kill. Ren and Big B literally spent the entire session plotting their revenge on Beat-Up's, and they executed it almost perfectly at the very end. For spot number 3, we of course have Cleo and Martin's final death during session 6. The last pair to go out before the final pair were declared winners. This one was pretty insane, but also a bit confusing since Cleo and Martin basically died at the same time while being chased by Pearl. Martin took damage from rockets while Cleo fell from a high place. After reviewing the footage, it seems to me that Cleo was the one to go out, thus killing Martin. After all, it was still such a climactic death. Now in spot number 2, we have probably the most insane and clever death of Double Life, which was Ren and Big B's final death during session 5, when Grian somehow timed the stalactite to fall on Ren perfectly. I will never forget this kill, as the luck was just insane. Now, finally, as number 1 on this list, I put Scott and Pearl's final death, which was the death that ended the series. Scott, since he was already the winner of Last Life, sacrificed himself to give Pearl the win, even though it killed her too. This death was the most climactic in my opinion, and it'll go down in history for Grian's life series. And there we go, all 21 linked deaths on Double Life ranked. Tell me in the comments if you agree or disagree with this list, and if you have a different list of rankings for Double Life, please tell me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want more content like this, especially about Hermitcraft, you might want to go check out my previous video and where I blew up the Hermitcraft Season 8 download. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.